Hey, gymnastics moms, is your daughter so focused on not falling that all she ends up doing is falling in meets? Or is she so stressed about it that all she talks about or all she thinks about is like not falling at the meet, not falling at the meet? Stick with us. We're going to talk about why falling is actually fine and how you can help your gymnast believe it. You're in Mindset for Moms, where we help moms develop happy, healthy gymnasts who know how to win. All right, we are continuing our month in February about how to enjoy the journey in meet season. And one of the biggest things that steals kids' joy in meet season is constantly worrying about falling. And even more than stealing their joy, it's what actually causes them to fall. So let's rewind this a little bit. Back when they were little itty bitty gymnasts, one of the first things that they learned how to do is how to fall safely, right? You remember that? Probably not. But they learn how to fall safely and they continue to be taught how to fall safely because falling in gymnastics is an everyday part of the sport. There's not going to be a practice, probably, where you don't fall somewhere. And so gymnasts become professionals at falling safely. But we know and understand that gymnasts are going to fall, and that is a very normal part of what happens in gymnastics because of a thing called gravity. And because in gymnastics, you can be off by centimeters on the beam and you're going to be and you're going to fall. You can, like, gosh, what is it? Oh, I don't remember the exact stat, but it's like doing a release move on bars. It's like you have like 1/1000th of a second opportunity to get it right. Like that's a pretty narrow, tiny little bullseye. And so we know that falling is a normal thing in gymnastics, and we teach kids how to fall safely. And yet, when they fall at a meet, it's a big problem. I even love this. Sometimes I'm working with kids and we're talking about how we're going to evaluate what happened at the next meet. And they're like, oh, beam was terrible. Yeah, I had a fall. And I'm like, okay. So you had a fall. What was your score? 9-3 with fall. That's awesome. Cool. Okay. How was vault? Oh, vault was fine. Okay. Would you get, how'd vault go? 8-7. I'm like, points are points are points. Tenths are tenths are tenths. Right. And a lot of times we evaluate if we hit a routine or not based on did we fall or not. But if you get 5/10ths worth of deductions in a routine from other things like flexed toes, bent knees, not sticking landings, those tenths count the exact same way that a fall does. A fall is not like those tenths count special. They're just the easiest ones for people to spot. It's the easiest one to point to. Oh, but a fall because it's a specific chunk and it's a bigger chunk at once. But it's easier to point to a fall than it is to point to 5 times toes weren't pointed. And so, um, which that's 5/10ths, 5/10ths, they're worth the same. And so being able to help your gymnast start thinking differently, and you as the parent start thinking differently. Falling is not a problem at a meet. Kids win with falls. I mean, did you see the beam finals at the Olympics in 2024? Like everyone fell. The silver medalist fell. The bronze medalist fell. Like falling still got Olympic medals. Kids win all the time with falls. It's just falling is no bigger deduction than anything else. And if they have a really clean routine with one fall, that's still probably going to score higher than a hit routine with a lot of messiness. And so falling is not the problem. And falling is a reality. It's just part of gymnastics. The best gymnasts in the world fall at the biggest meets of their life. It is part of the sport, and making it a problem and making it like they should never do it is like saying they should be able to fly. Like they just can't. I mean, gymnasts do fly, I guess, right? The gymnasts come closest to flying of us all, but like it's just part of what happens. And the reason though that's crazy, most of the time they fall because they're focusing on not falling. But here's the part that happens with the brain. The brain doesn't know how to think about not doing something. And so when you tell it don't fall, all it's focused on is falling. And when it's focused on falling, it's not focusing on technique. It's not focusing on cue words. It's not focusing on deep steadying breath before you go. In fact, usually when they're focused on falling, they're feeling afraid, they're feeling tense, they're feeling pressure. They don't do any of the things they need to do the skill correctly, and then they fall. And then mean old brain says, "See, I knew you were going to fall." But the only reason we fell in the first place was because we were focused on falling. And so when we can help them, just falling is normal. I'm not trying to say falling is fun. I'm not trying to say falling is the goal. We're just saying falling is fine. It's fine. Yeah, we're going to be a little disappointed. Yeah, we're not trying to fall, but if we do, it's fine. Stop focusing on it. Stop worrying about it. It's not a big deal. And when you stop focusing on falling and you stop worrying about falling, and you just know that sometimes it happens and it's a totally normal part of a gymnastics meet or a gymnastics practice, then when you do fall, you can come back from it fine, and you're going to feel so much calmer. So your gymnast is actually going to do their best performances when they believe that falling is fine. So we work with them a lot on this. I know like you're going to tell them that, they're going to be like, "Mom, you don't understand. Falling is not okay." And so if you would like to get help with this, this is one of the things we really work on in our program, is how to refocus your brain on the things it needs to focus on instead of staying focused on the things that it's worried about. How to actually think positively, how to reframe some of these things, how to be resilient when you do fall, so that you can still come back and have the best meet, right? And for you as a parent, it's so easy. And me too as a coach. It's so easy. The falls are easy. Oh well. Oh, not a 9.3. Well, if you wouldn't have fallen to be a 9.8, that's an amazing score. Like it's easy to focus in on the falling part, but just know it's just equal tense to everything else. We don't have to focus in on the falling. We can be like, okay, well, fall is, it's normal. It is a part of gymnastic. Let's figure out what led to the fall. Were you feeling rushed? You know, a lot of times it's like, oh, warm up didn't go the way that I thought, or, I don't know. I just was so scared I was going to fall, and like being able to help them evaluate what led to the fall instead of that it's bad and you can't ever even look at it. Just being like, "Oh, yeah. Okay, well, you fell on that. Well, um, what's something that we can do to improve that? What do you think led to that? How can we do some work on that?" This might be a good plug for mindset training. Like, oh, well, maybe we could figure out how to help your brain not be focused on falling all the time so that you can go out there and do your best gymnastics. But you not focusing on falling too, not making it a big deal. Like, it's fine. Again, I'm not trying to say to pretend that it's fun. You fell, great job. Like, that's not authentic, right? We're not trying to say it's fun or it's the goal, but just that it is a normal part of life that we have to accept and that we go in knowing. And then I'm going to tell you this: when kids go in and they really believe that falling is fine, they hit again and again and again. I had one level 9 that I was working with, and we worked all December on believing that falling was fine. January through March, she hit every single routine, not a fall for 3 months. Every meet, hit and won, hit and won. And then we got to state. And then she stopped believing that falling was fine. Falling was fine at meets. Falling was not fine at state. Falling was not fine at regionals. Falling was not fine at nationals. And she fell at state and regionals. So this is the way that they can get to the gymnastics that they want to perform. And the more that you can kind of chill out on the focus on falling, the more that they can chill out, the better they're going to do. All right. We're going to keep talking about the things that steal their joy in meet season the rest of the month. So stay tuned and see you next week.